Echelon EX4s versus Echelon Connect. In today's video, we are going to be comparing the $500 Echelon Connect you can buy on Walmart or maybe Amazon versus the Costco version of the Echelon Connect EX4s. Why would you spend $1,000 on the EX4s when you can just buy the Connect for 500 bucks? In the next few minutes, that's the question we're gonna try to answer. Which I should probably bring up the way I bought the EX4s. I got it at Costco and it comes with 1 year of that membership for free, which is a $400 value. Starting with the Echelon EX4s over here, it comes with a 10.1 inch rotating touchscreen. However, the screen does not rotate side to side, it actually flips over like this, and the entire image flips over when you flip the screen over. I'll show you more about the screen in just a moment, but for now, let's take a look at the other major difference of this bike, and that is the flywheel on the back of the bike. But not only that, the flywheel is like double the mass of the flywheel on the $500 Echelon Connect. At the time of this recording, there's absolutely no information about this bike available in the box or online or anything, but the other bikes that Echelon makes, like the EX3, the EX5s, they have a flywheel mass listed at 13 kilograms, which equates to 28.7 pounds. As comparison, over here on the $500 Echelon Connect, you get this flywheel that's enclosed and it's on the front of the bike, and the mass is listed at 7 kilograms, which comes out to 15.4 pounds. However, if you've seen my official review on this Connect or any of my other videos, you know that flywheel mass is not the end-all be-all. There's a lot of other components that go into drivetrain feel, which we'll get more into that in just a moment. If you're enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up, and any questions or comments you have, please leave down in the comment section below. For those of you who don't know anything about the $500 Echelon Connect, it does not come with any screen whatsoever. You simply bring your own device and you load up the Echelon app and you can put it in free ride mode. You don't need to buy or pay for the Echelon subscription. You just pull up freestyle and you can get your metrics such as cadence, resistance, and power output. Additionally, since the $500 Echelon Connect does not come with a screen, you can easily just throw up a tablet on here and use another fitness platform such as Apple Fitness Plus or the Peloton digital app, or you can do any sort of service you would like. Over here on the EX4s, you basically can pull up the exact same freestyle mode here and get the same exact app. However, as part of the integrated screen, you can also pull up Echelon classes here right on the tablet. Which I should probably bring up the way I bought the EX4s. I got it at Costco and it comes with 1 year of that membership for free, which is a $400 value. I should point out they do have you put in your billing information when you sign up for that free year. So after that 1 year is up, if you don't cancel it or take that away, it looks like it might auto charge you for the next year. Over here on the $500 Echelon Connect, depending on when and where you buy it from and if the offer is still valid, it is possible to get up to 6 months of free Echelon membership with this bike. From everything I can see so far, it looks like you will not be able to pull up the Peloton app or Apple Fitness Plus app or anything like that on this tablet. However, I do need to kind of look more into that to be 100% certain there's not a way to get around it. So if you did want to do something other than Echelon on this bike, you might need to bring your own separate tablet, or you could simply set your bike in front of a television and play whatever classes or app you would like, and just get your metrics on the screen on this bike. Over here on the $500 Echelon Connect, the resistance knob has 32 levels of resistance, which is the same as on the EX4s over there. However, turning this resistance knob has a physical connection and it's not a digital magnetic resistance. And it takes about 32 turns to get from maximum resistance all the way down to minimum resistance. This is the resistance knob on the EX4s. It looks very similar at first glance, however, it is different. This resistance knob is digital magnetic resistance, and when I turn it, you can hear the motor work. Listen to the motor work. Which brings up the question, can you join classes that will automatically adjust your resistance on the EX4s? Unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that question yet because I can't get my app to work due to some technical difficulties. And this really just has to do with my personal account, the way I have multiple accounts set up. I had a little bug I'm working out. I have not had a chance to see how many turns it takes to get this thing from minimum to maximum, so let's figure that out now. It moved at about 5 resistances. I'm gonna give it 1 more full rotation. So that moved it almost 5. 1 more. 1 more. one more. So I actually did not count how many times I turned that, but it was definitely way less than 32. And also, in addition, since it's not a physical connection on this resistance knob, it actually turns a lot easier. You can just kind of easily move it with your fingers. Another thing worth mentioning on this resistance knob is it kind of has like a stop point, like it turns and clicks into a spot. I believe that Echelon calls this indexing. On top of that, this resistance knob works quite a bit different than most other resistance knobs. You push down and the whole thing kind of works like a lever, like this. Whereas on the $500 Echelon Connect over here, you don't get those like clicky things in between turns, and also the resistance knob, you just press straight down on it for the stop, which is just traditional like every other resistance knob. However, those are all kind of little minor details that I was talking about. The big things are, you know, what is the drivetrain like? What is the differences? And we're gonna get more into that in just a moment. And also, what is the maximum resistance of each of these bikes? You know, how does that compare from one bike to the other? But like I said before, the flywheel on the Echelon EX4s is basically double the mass of the flywheel on the Echelon Connect, the $500 one here. And even though the maximum resistance is number 32 on each of these bikes, I can tell you right now, it is not the same maximum resistance on these bikes, and we'll get more into that in just a moment. As stated on the company website, each of these bikes has a maximum user weight of 300 pounds. Before we get into that, let's take a look at the handlebars of these bikes. On the Echelon EX4s, you get a very traditional handlebar layout. One thing that's a little bit different, I wish was a little different here, is I wish this was straight across and flat. However, the grip material on these handlebars is really nice. It's rubbery, nice grip up here. Kind of wish that this part right here was a little bit wider for my big hands. You know, I'm 6'5", so I do have fairly big hands. From this perspective, they are flat across here, and they have that traditional curve up as you go out, which is nice. Moving straight on over here to the $500 Echelon Connect, you can see it has the same sort of curve up. However, on my particular Echelon Connect that I bought on Amazon a couple months ago, these handlebars are a little bit different. They kind of have a bow down here, but depending on where you buy them from, you know, I know that the Walmart version of this bike have a little bit different handlebars. I have a video on that on my channel. But the one thing that I can say about the $500 Echelon Connect bike that I do kind of like more about on the handlebars over here is they are thicker. So I wrapped a tape measure around there, and this is measured in inches. They are about 4.5 inches thick on the Echelon Connect, the $500 version. And as comparison over here on the Echelon EX4s, you can see that the diameter of the tubing of the handlebars is just a little bit thinner. Honestly, not a huge deal. I do have really big hands, so I kind of just tend to prefer a thicker grip. But you know, as somebody who reviews a lot of bikes, I just thought I would point that out to you. So if it's helpful, I hope it is. These are the pedals that come on the Echelon EX4s. They have an SPD clip-in on one side, and they do have a fairly large platform. And on the other side, they have a cage style for the more casual rider who isn't ready to clip in yet. If you don't know anything about clipping in, these are some team style shoes. These are my girlfriend's shoes. They have a little cleat there on the bottom, and it tucks neatly away underneath the rubber sole, so you can easily walk on these shoes, which is not the same for the other style cleats that come on the Peloton bike. The $500 Echelon Connect appears to come with basically the exact same pedal. However, just on the other side, they don't give you the clip in, but there is a place for you to put it on there if you want to buy it yourself, if you're ready to upgrade that. The other side, you just get cage style pedals. On the $500 Echelon Connect, you get one water bottle holder, and there isn't really a lot of clearance between here, so it can't be really a big water bottle. The EX4s has dual water bottle holders up front, and in the back of the bike by the seat area back here, there are weight holders. However, the bike does not come with weights. And speaking of seat area, this is what the seat on the EX4s looks like. It has a little cutout in it, and you know, the material feels kind of nice. It is a little bit squishy, which, you know, a lot of people do prefer a squishier, comfier seat. As I always say, do not listen to my opinion on seat. I'm just showing you what the seat looks like here on the EX4s. As comparison, this is what the seat looks like on the $500 Echelon Connect. There's no hole cut out for it. Similar shape, but they are slightly different. The less expensive Echelon Connect has these plasticky knobs to adjust, and there is 17 levels to adjust the seat up and down. The holes are spaced 15 millimeters apart. You can also adjust the seat forwards and backwards here with this plastic knob. And the handlebars can raise and lower, 9 adjustment levers with this plastic knob here. Holes are spaced 15 millimeters apart. However, one thing that neither of these bikes can do is move the handlebars forwards and backwards. They are both locked into place on both bikes. To show you what I mean, there's the bolts and they are locked into place. On the EX4s, you also get 9 adjustments for the handlebars going up and down, hole space 15 millimeters apart, and the knob on this bike is a lot nicer. Just to show you the seat real quick, the max is 17. You can also move the seat forward and backwards with this rubber knob, and like I was saying, these are rubber knobs that are much more on par with what the Peloton Bike Plus has. They are a very soft touch, nice feeling material, and they definitely feel a lot nicer than the plastic ones that you get on the $500 Echelon Connect. However, they are both effective. And as you can see here, for moving the seat up and down, it looks like they did not give you that rubber adjustment knob for here. So you get like the traditional knob here. Just a little bit harsher to the touch, however, you know, definitely works. So now what I'm gonna do is hop on both these bikes and compare the drivetrain feel and the maximum resistance and share my thoughts and opinions on how I feel about how these bikes ride and just really compare them for you. So I just built the EX4s last night. I haven't had a lot of time to get on it and ride it, so I'm looking forward here to comparing these two bikes and just, you know, that bike, the EX4s, it feels like a very nice riding machine. I was really impressed at first, but let's get on here and compare these bikes side by side. So starting with this bike, everything's on its max settings. I'm not gonna use my clip-in shoes for this. I'm just using my regular shoes in the cages. It's on 32 right now, seat's on maximum height, so you know, this is kind of like what my knee looks like. I'm 6'5", and at the bottom of the pedal stroke, I feel like it would be beneficial if the seat came a little higher on this bike. Also, the resistance is on 32 right now, so I'm gonna turn it down to 1 real quick. Well, we'll see how quick it is. 6, 5, 1. All right, so resistance 1, cadence is about 108, 110. Output is at 51. Very silent bike, I mean, pretty quiet. Let me add on some resistance. So going from resistance 1 up to resistance 15. On this bike, the resistance kind of starts to come on very light in the lower numbers, and then like after you get up to like 10 to 20, like between 10 and 20, it starts to really add on. Now I'm on resistance 21. Output is 220. So on this bike, yes, at my height of 6'5" and an inseam of 34, I wish that the seat did come up a little bit higher. Just for, you know, a taller person. However, the bike is comfortable. I feel like I am in a pretty relaxed position where I can kind of get upright, and I can also stretch out, and I can always drop the handlebars to get in a more aggressive riding position if I want to. So now I'm just going to crank it up the max resistance real quick and just kind of show you what that looks like, although you probably already know from my other videos. It's not the greatest max resistance, but this is max resistance of 32. Cadence is 60. Output is measured at 300. Yeah, cadence 60. Output is right around 300. So I'm going to leave this on max resistance, go over here and feel this one out. Alright, so on the EX4s, first impressions. So the seat does come up a little bit higher on this bike, even though the number says the same on both bikes. My inseam is 34, and you know, I get a little bit more extension on this bike. Also going to use the K-style pedals on this bike just to keep it fair. And let me crank it down to resistance 1. So the motor, I don't really want to bring the Peloton Bike Plus into this, but I am going to, I guess. This bike doesn't adjust resistance digitally as quickly as the Peloton Bike Plus. However, It does move a lot quicker than that Echelon Connect. So right away, I can actually tell the difference in the flywheel mass. Like I mentioned before, the flywheel mass of this bike is basically double on this bike compared to that one. So since the flywheel mass is heavier, it does take a little bit more to get the pedals turning, and then also more to stop the pedals from rotating because the inertia of the flywheel. So ultimately with the heavier flywheel, what that does for you is it helps you even out your cadence when you get out of the saddle, and just helps you keep a more even, consistent cadence with the inertia of the mass of the flywheel. One initial observation I'm kind of picking up on here on the EX4s is I actually do feel a little bit more stretched out on this bike as in comparison to that bike. Now, that probably has to do with my height. You know, I'm 6'5", and as you can see, the geometry of this bike, as you raise the handlebars, they go away from you, and the seat also goes back. So I can tell I am in a slightly more aggressive riding position. However, it's not like a bad aggressive riding position like the Pro Form back there. I don't really like the riding position of that yellow bike back there, but this is fine. I'm just noticing it's a little bit more of, I'm a little bit more stretched out. So I'm on resistance 1, and I can tell that this bike has a smoother feeling drivetrain than that Echelon. So let me crank on a little bit of resistance now. And I can hear that motor turning it. It moves kind of slow, but I don't think it moves as slowly as the Pro Form bike, the other Costco bike, but definitely it doesn't move as quick as the Peloton bike. So now I'm on resistance 16. Overall, I think the EX4s is a little bit quieter than that bike, although pretty much a moot point. They're both very, very quiet bikes. So now I'm on resistance 23, and I can feel the resistance really coming on now. Cadence is 75, watts output 185, resistance 23. Crank it up. Ooh, 27. It's getting heavy now. Cadence is 50, 54. Watts output is measured at 150. I'm just gonna turn to max. And it gets even heavier. Okay, so I'm gonna have to jump back on that bike, but I feel like the max resistance on the EX4s is probably more than that bike. Let me get out of the saddle and show you. So I weigh 190 pounds, 6'5". Cadence 60, watts output right around 300. This is a pretty good max resistance, honestly. This is pretty tough. It's a good feeling drivetrain. This bike feels smooth. Okay, so I'm on max resistance. I'm gonna go over there and see what it feels like right away. If you're enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up because that really helps support this channel. And also any questions you have, please leave down in the comment section below. Yeah, max resistance on the EX4s is definitely more than the max resistance on this bike. Hopping back straight on over to this bike, definitely noticing the seat height difference right away. And also just the handlebars are closer on this bike because as you raise them up on this bike, they do get closer to you. Whereas on that bike, you raise them up, they get farther away from you. So max resistance, it is one of the weak points of this bike. I have a full review on this Echelon Connect if you haven't seen it yet. I'll put a little card up here for you or link in the description box if you want to learn more about this bike. So yep, right back over here, resistance still on max. Yep, max resistance on this bike is for sure higher. I am going to be comparing this bike head to head with the Peloton Bike Plus back there, and I'll give a equivalent resistance conversion on what I think the max resistance on this bike is equal to on the Peloton Bike Plus in the future. So if you want to see that video, be sure to subscribe and check that out in the future. Probably coming in, I don't know, a few days, maybe a week. Might already be posted by now. So I'm going to go ahead and move the seat all the way forward on this bike. Like I mentioned before, I do feel a little bit stretched out on this bike. It's not nearly as bad as that Pro 4 back there that I was really kind of hating on it. But now the seat is all the way forward. Handlebars don't move. I'm going to show you what it looks like now. Okay, so that actually helped a lot, just moving the seat forward. You know, I feel like my knees and feet are still like pretty much in the proper position here. So the EX4s is a comfortable bike. I'm happy with, you know, the hand grips positioned. You know, you can stretch out and get a more aggressive position, or, you know, come up for a more relaxed riding position. And also at 6'5", my knees clear the handlebars just fine. So let me show you what that looks like on that bike. I really can't hit my knees on these handlebars, even at my tall height, whereas on those ones I can. Let me crank the resistance. So I've been on max resistance. I'm going down to 15. Cadence is 140. Watt output 220. Feels smooth, and yeah, I mean, it's a nice feeling drivetrain on this bike. Honestly, looking forward to doing my tail happy review on this bike and more comparisons. I like this bike. I give it a thumbs up. So straight on back over here on the other Echelon, my knees can hit the handlebars. Obviously, you should be riding with your booty back. You shouldn't be leaning forward anyway. But just to kind of demonstrate, my knees do clear, but you know, they can hit. So let me give you my Echelon EX4s versus Echelon Connect summary here. Okay, so first of all, $1,000. This bike from Costco comes with a full year, $400 value basically of the Echelon classes for free. Over here, $500 bike, and you can get possibly 6 months of Echelon memberships for free depending on when and where you buy it from. On this bike, you get the big exposed flywheel on the back. I think it's a better looking bike, but not only that, the drivetrain feels a lot more smooth, and it has a higher maximum resistance in that more massive flywheel back there that weighs about 28 point some pounds. Really carries that inertia, and I really feel the difference in the drivetrain on this higher end EX4s Echelon model. The $500 Echelon Connect is not a bad entry level option. It's the bike that we started out on. It's a great model if you want to use like Peloton digital app, because it doesn't come with a screen on it at all. So, you know, you can sign up for Peloton digital app for $12.99 a month, or the new Apple Fitness Plus, which probably is out by now by the time you're watching this video. However, when I'm recording, it has not been released yet. So no screen at all on this bike. Just throw your own tablet up here, bring your own phone. If you have an iPad or something, just throw it right on there. Super easy. On the EX4s, you get this 10.1 inch rotating screen. It rotates like this. However, you know, it does not turn side to side. When you flip it over, it does flip over all the metrics, and the screen flips 180 degrees over. I'll talk more about the specs on this bike in my official review of it, but it does have a little audio port there so you can plug in your headphones. The back of the screen does have a little power button back there so you can turn the screen on and off easily, and there's also audio control buttons back there. There are some USB ports on the back of here and additional ports. I'll show you that stuff in my next video. The resistance knob on the EX4s is definitely nicer. It's unique in the sense that the brake goes down like that to stop it. But the main unique thing in the drivetrain here is it is a digital magnetic resistance. So listen, you can hear the motors turning. And turning this resistance knob is very quick and very easy to turn. You can just kind of flick it easily, just like on the Peloton Bike Plus. The $500 Echelon Connect has a very similar looking resistance knob. However, you have to turn this thing 32 times to get from minimum to maximum resistance. And it doesn't really just kind of flick as easily because this is not a digitally controlled magnetic resistance. However, you know, they are both belt driven. They both do have magnetic resistance, but they both have relatively smooth feeling drivetrains. The drivetrains on both of these bikes feel relatively good. Compared to a lot of bikes I've compared, both these bikes have acceptable feeling drivetrains. The EX4s definitely has the better feeling drivetrain and also the higher maximum resistance. So all that being said, I do like both of these bikes. I am really impressed with the EX4s. I wasn't expecting as much of it, honestly, as, you know, when I bought this bike, I really didn't know what to expect from it. But to tell you the truth, I like the way this bike feels, and I'm really looking forward to putting it head to head against the king over there, Peloton Bike Plus. See how that maximum resistance compares up head to head, how the drivetrains feel head to head, because we're talking $1,000 machine here with a year of free services versus a machine that costs like basically $2,500 bare bones, nothing else included. And then also that $39 per month monthly membership fee, which you don't get that for free on the Peloton bike. Additionally, we will be comparing it to the ProForm back there, which is also available at Costco. That bike's only $385. Comes with a free year of iFit. So, you know, it really just kind of depends on where you are in your fitness journey on which bike is the bike for you. Thanks for watching, guys. Browse my channel for other videos on each of these bikes and other comparison videos. Click subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.